Okay, just continuing on section 6.3, part 2. Sorry, I had to split this up into 2 videos. We're going to look at a couple of little things that I like to think of as puzzles. They're called identities. We can find the exact value of some kind of crazy equations. For example, let's look at example number 1. What is the secant squared of 18 degrees minus the tangent squared of 18 degrees? Okay. Well, the first thing you'd probably say to me, and I would say without a calculator. Well, the first thing you might say to me is, I don't know what the secant of 18 degrees is. I don't know what the secant of 18 degrees is. How can I square it? Well, this is where our identities help us out. Remember back to the beginning of the lesson, we had an identity that said this: 1 plus the tangent squared of any angle equals the secant squared of that angle. Okay? So if I decided to rearrange this equation and subtract the tangent squared from both sides of the equation, I would get 1 equals the secant squared of theta plus the tangent squared of theta. Remember what we said, theta means any angle. So right up here I have the secant squared of 18 minus the tangent squared of 18. That equals 1. Just by using those identities. We don't need to know what the secant of 18 is and the tangent of 18 is. Let's try another one. Example 2. A lot of my examples here are going to have an answer of 1. That doesn't mean they're always 1. The sine squared of 52 degrees plus the cosine squared of 52 degrees, okay? Again, you don't know the sine of 52 degrees. You don't know the cosine of 52 degrees, but you do know your Pythagorean identity that says the sine squared of theta plus the cosine squared of theta is 1, and theta means any angle. So the answer to this problem is also 1. This right. Example 3. The tangent of 20 times 20 degrees times the cotangent of 20 degrees. Well, what do you know about tangents and cotangents? They're reciprocals. So I can replace the cotangent with 1 over the tangent of 20. Tangents cancel, and the answer to this problem is also 1. Really, any number times its reciprocal will always be 1. Okay? Okay, let's take into consideration some coterminal angles. The secant of negative 40 degrees times the cosine of 320 degrees. What does that equal? Well, we know that if we take negative 40 degrees and add 360, we get 320. That means that negative 40 and 320 are coterminal angles, which means their trig ratios will be the same. So I can go ahead and replace the secant of negative 40 with the secant of 320. coterminal angles. And once again, we can go through the motions that the secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. Okay, trying to scroll. The secant is the reciprocal of the cosine, so I can replace secant with 1 over cosine 320 times the cosine of 320. These cancel. And once again, I promise you all the answers are not 1, but these are 1. This is 1. Okay. All right, so I just needed to add that little bit to the video. So you guys can work on the classwork that's on the overhead. If it's not, ask the sub to put it on the overhead. And I will see you guys next week.